I'm Dr. Sayeekumar, heading the Department of Computer Science and Technology. Now we are going to see about IP addressing in computer networks. IP addressing, right. So what do you mean by addressing? In case of an organization, each and every employee will be given an ID, right? So the purpose of giving an ID is to identify the person, right? In case of a student in a college, student will be given a register number. Likewise, in case of system, when we are connecting the system into our desktop or a node into a network, we have to assign an address for each and every system so that for communication will be doing it, right? So here, what do you mean by IP is Internet Protocol, a protocol, Internet Protocol addressing, right? Okay. So what do you mean by a protocol? When we deal about this Internet protocol, what do you mean by a protocol? When we are going for a global communication, if I want to communicate to others, we should be in a same synchronous mode so that we can able to communicate it. So it is called as set of rules. Set of rules will be called as a protocol, right? So here, when we get into protocol set of rules, we have two combinations of protocol, so the characteristics of protocol. One is called as connection oriented protocol. Next one is called as a connectionless protocol. Okay. Normally what we will feel is that when we go with the connectionless protocol, we will be calling it as when the system is communicating through a wireless media, this will be called as a connectionless protocol. And when we are using a system in while using wired network, it will be called as which will be called as a guided media. When we use in guided media, it will be called as a connection oriented protocol. That is wrong. It is not that case. Where what do you mean by connection oriented protocol is when we take source to destination, right? This is your source, this is your destination. So what is the procedure which will be followed in connection oriented protocol is that before sending any packet, what I do is that first step is I will be establishing a connection. So first we establish the network. That is the first case, right? Then after establishing it, I will be communicating all the packet through this network, communication. So communicating all the packet through this path. So that is called as a communication. This path will be maintained until all the packet from source to destination is communicated. So until then this path will be maintained. After passing all the packets to the destination, we will be terminating the connection. Okay, so when we follow these three steps, first establishing the connection, then forwarding all the packet to the destination, then after communicating all the packet, I will be terminating this connection. So when we follow this method, it will be called as a connection oriented protocol. The best example for connection oriented protocol is TCP, that is transmission control protocol. Okay, then what is the case of this connectionless protocol? It doesn't mean that when we are using in wireless media, it will be called as a connectionless protocol. It is not so. Actual meaning is that here, as if in connection oriented protocol, we will be following this three steps, right? Whereas in connectionless protocol, these steps will not be followed. So for example, we have, you know that always the process in network will be done by forwarding a packet, right? Let me take this as an example. So when this is your source, this is your destination. Let me keep this as source and destination. In this case, when I want to communicate to destination, in case of your connectionless protocol, it won't look into the path. It will forward all the packet, whatever the path which is connected to it. That is called as a connection. It won't deal about establishing a connection, communicating with the same path, or after communication it will terminate. That is not done in case of your connectionless protocol. In case of connection oriented protocol, if I find out this path is the shortest path, I will be maintaining this path until all the transmission is done. This is the case of connection oriented protocol and connectionless protocol, right? Now, example for this connectionless protocol is Internet protocol, DCP, all these things, right? So now we will be dealing about this. We will get into IP. that is Internet Protocol. Now, which is called as a connectionless protocol, right? Internet Protocol, right? So, when we are getting into addressing, when I want to deal about this addressing, right? Two types of address are there. One is called as a physical address. Next one is called as logical address. What do you mean by physical address? Physical address is nothing but the MAC address, which is called as a machine address code. Machine address code. What does this physical address deals is that? So this physical address will be embedded by the manufacturer itself. Ethernet card, NIC card will be we will be using NIC card, right? There, this physical address will be embedded by the manufacturer itself. So this is a part of that thing, right? Logical address is nothing but what we are going to assign the address. That is called as an Internet Protocol, IP addressing, right? Okay. Where this physical address will be used and where this logical address will be used. Normally, this physical address will be used in local communication. So, if you are going for a local communication, I will be using this physical address, right? When we are going with an internet will be going with a logical address, right? Okay. So, this is physical address which is embedded, we can't able to change it, nothing to deal about it, right? We want to focus towards this logical addressing. Logical addressing, there is a rule for communicating. Since we are going to communicate globally, we have to follow certain rules and regulations, right? So while we are going for that, we have to follow this. Now we are going for a logical addressing. Logical addressing, right? Okay. When you are communicating with this logical address, that is using IP address. IP, we are going to assign an IP address. So we have two versions in IP addressing. One is called as IP version 4, IP version 4. Next is IP version 6. Two versions are there. So what does this IP version 4 and version 6 deals about is that this IP version 4 will be 32-bit addressing. IP version 4 will be 32-bit addressing. This will be 128-bit addressing. That is the basic difference between IP version 4 and IP version 6. Normally in our Asian countries we will be using this IP version 4, still we have been switched over to IP version 6. In European countries they are using this IP version 6. So even if you assign IP version 6 while communicating to, if I want to communicate with IP version 4 systems, automatically the server will deal about it and it will be converted to IP version 4 and it will be communicated, right? So now we are going to focus towards this IP version 4, IP version 4. So which is what? 32-bit addressing, right? Okay. Now we'll be then focusing towards IP version 4. As I told you, it is a 32-bit addressing, right? Okay. So how this addressing done is that it is separated into 8-bit, 8-bit, dot 8-bit, dot 8-bit, dot 8-bit. So 8.8.8. This I am saying about the bit, 8-bit, 8-bit, and 8-bit. This is how 4 8-bits will be there for any IP address version 4. I am dealing about this, speaking about this version 4 addressing, right? Okay. So 4 8-bit totally is of 32-bit, right? This is the standard format syntax for assigning an IP address in version 4, right? Okay. But an example for this IP addressing 8-bit I have told, right? So for example 192.168.10.5, right? This is an IP address, example for an IP address. Now I do have a doubt how this number is arrived, right? So how to communicate it? What does this 192 refers? What does this 168 refers? What does this 10 and 5 refers, right? They have formed a set of rules, and while assigning the IP address, we have to get into that into the mind and we have to assign the IP address. Now, when, as I told you, when we are communicating globally, we have to follow certain rules and regulations, right? Standardization, we have to follow certain rules and regulations. What the formation is done is that they have separated into classes, class A, class B, class C, class D and class E, right? So these are the classes which is divided. So now we can deal only about this classes, that is class A, class B, class C alone. We can't touch this class D and class E. So class D is for extension purpose and class E is for research purpose. So we can't able to touch this class D and class E. So now we can deal only about class A, class B, class C and class A, class B, class C, right? So as I told you earlier, we have divided the IP address into 4 8 bits, right? 4 8 bits, 8.8.8. That is 192.168.10.5 for example. So that is it. Now when I am dealing with, keep in mind that when I am dealing with IP addressing, 2 words will come into mind. One is called as a host and next one is called as a network. H is nothing but host, we will be referring it. H for host, N for network, right? Okay. So what do you mean by host? A node will be called as a host. When I grouping that nodes in the group, that will be called as a network, right? Okay. Now when I am dealing with this class A, 3 8-bit will be given for, that is given for host, and only 1 8-bit will be taken for network. Keep in mind. So only 1 8-bit will be taken for network. Remaining 3 8-bit will be given for host. Right? Okay. So next, in the case of say 4 8-bits, right? In case of class B, 2 8-bit will be given for network and 2 8-bit will be given for host. Right? Similarly for class C, I will be giving 3 8-bit will be given for network and 1 8-bit will be taken for host. So I hope you can calculate that. So in which class we can able to give more number of hosts? By seeing the bit itself, I can able to judge it, right? Yes. In case of class A, I have assigned 3 8-bits, right? So more number of hosts can be allocated in case of class A. In case of class B, lesser than A. Finally, in class C, only 1 8-bit is given. If I go with an 8-bit, maximum of 0 to 255, that is 256 address I will get. Alright? In case of 8-bit, I will be getting 0 to 255. So 256 address I will get it. You hope you know that. So when I start with 0, 255, it will be getting 256 address. Right? So in single IP address, in case of class C, I can able to have only 255, 0 to 255, that means 256 address can be given, right? Okay. In case of class B, 2 8-bit is given, that is 16-bit is given for host. So while comparing with class C, more number of hosts can be allocated and this class B. So maximum, to be in a nutshell, I can say that the class C will be using in the local networks, right? Local communication, LAN will be using it. So next level I will be using. Normally public addressing, when I go with the public addressing, I will be going with this class A because number of hosts can be given. So it can be given more. So that's why we will be going with class A. When you go with the internet, when you get public address, so you will be going with this class A. This will be for local networking, right? Okay. So now how you have said that you may ask me that you have given only 8-bit for network and 8-bit for host here too, right? So what will be the range of the IP address? How to identify that this address belongs to class A or class B or class C, right? Yes. So when the address, you can keep in your mind, when the address is from 0 to 127, 0 to 127, that is 128 bit, it will be called as class A. Whatever the IP address starts from 0 to 127 will be called as class A. So here 128 to 191, right? This will be called as class B. When I go with 192 to 223, it will be called as class C. So now keep in your mind, if any address is given between this 0 to 127, it will be class A. 128 to 129, sorry 191, it will be class B. If it is 192 to 223, class. Okay. Let me have an example. Just identify what class it belongs to. So first C, right? First, right? This of 10. In which range it comes? Yes, it is class A, right? So class A. When this 10 is there, it is class A. I'll go with 192, right? 193. Then it falls in class C, right? So when it is 172, this will be class D, right? So here, this 2 will be fixed. Since it is B, this given to network, we can't assign this for host, right? It will be for a network. Since it is class B, so this 2 8-bit will be given for network, right? This 2 8-bit will be given for host, right? So when I give 192.10.10 dot something, right? Here, what does it mean? 3 8-bit is given for network. Am I right? So 3. So we can't touch this 3 8. It is given for network. So now I can assign the IP address from 192.10.10.0 to 192.10.10.255, as I told you, that is 0 to 255, right? So 192.10.10, I can't change this 10.10. 192.10.10, I can't touch this. Okay? Only I can vary this 8-bit alone. So it starts from 0 to 255. Right. Now, keep in mind one thing, important thing. So when we are getting into a network, always there is a rule, 2 address cannot be assigned, right? One IP address is, we have to give one IP address for network, right? One IP address should be assigned for network and another IP address should be assigned for broadcast. This is the rule. 2 rules are there. One is network and broadcast, right? Keep in mind, whatever the IP address range you are calculating it, so first IP address should be given for network. Second IP address should be given for broadcast. Last IP address should be given for IP. Now, what will be the usable IP address? It will start from 1 to 254. I hope you can understand it. So you can't assign this 192.10.10.0 to a system. That is for network. For anything for a network, I will be using this address. 192.10.10.0 will be assigned for that. So 192.10.10.255 will be assigned for broadcast. So what will be called as this usable IP address is 112, that is 192.10.10.1 to 192.10.10.254. I hope that you have understood what is IP addressing, how we are going for an IP addressing, what are the classes. To be a nutshell, as I told you, IP address, when you go with an IP address, 2 things are there. One is called as a connection oriented protocol, connection less protocol. Connection oriented protocol, when we follow this through rule, that is establishing the connection, communication, then termination. This connection will be maintained until all the packet is transmitted. Then it will be called as a connection oriented protocol. When we go with a connection less protocol, what does it mean? It won't care about the transmission line path, right? So it will forward all the packet, whatever the path which is connected to it, that will be called as a connection less protocol. When we go with IP addressing, when we focus towards a point which is called as IP addressing, that is our topic. So we have 2 versions. One is called as an IP version 4, next is IP version 6. IP version is of 32-bit, it is of 128-bit. IP version 4 we are using in Asian countries, we are using one that is IP version 4. In Europe countries they are using IP version 6. Moving towards IP version 4, as I told you, 8-bit, 32-bit, 4 8-bits will be there, 8888, right? So that is there. So then physical address, we have seen about physical address and logical address. Logical address is we are looking for it. Then we are separating, we are segregating the IP address in classes. There is class A, class B, class C, class D and E. We can't use this D and E for extension purpose and research purpose. We will be using class A, class B, class C. In case of class A, 4 8-bit, 1 8-bit will be given for network, the remaining 3 8-bits will be given for host. Similarly for class B, 2 8-bit will be given for network and 2 for host. Then in case of class C, 3 for network and host. As I told you, 0 to 255, 256 address can be assigned, 2 to the power of 8 will be 256. because it's of 8 bit, right? 2 to the power of 8 will be 256. That is how we have seen the example. Two things, two address we can't use it in the IP address range. Two address should be assigned. One is for network, next one is for broadcast, right? So this should be assigned. First address will be your network address, last address will be your broadcast address. Between this 1 to 254 will be used as an IP address, right? Thank you. We'll see remaining in the next.